Hello, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley of the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel, the playlist series, How to Assist in, I just keep doing this, I'm sorry. How to Assist in the Creation of Peace on Earth. How to Assist in the Creation of Peace on Earth. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way. Let's see what Eliana has to say, and I am enjoying the new learning. I hope you are too. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. It is indeed Alienia of Cosmic Service, a Palladian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. There will be a little bit of light going back and forth, so we're just going to take these off for that. Okay, that's a little less distracting for you watching the video. All right, this is the fourth, I believe, of this series. And in this one, we're going to speak a little bit about what's on the Interim Christ Grid, Interim Soul Grid, in the Peace Path, Christ Healing Spirit Body. As you can see, we're building along here. And it's suggested that you listen to these videos in this series from the beginning to the end, because we weave stories, we weave information, and we weave the energy work as it should be. So this is not the kind of a channel on YouTube that you can just randomly jump around to videos. This is a very specific design in this channel for the reasons of this one's work. Okay, so we know that in the wind of birth, in the peace path, that it is connected to the Christ spirit body group level, and out in the noosphere, the Christ evolutionary and healing consciousness force, and that it has two pathways on the human consciousness grid to the golden ancestral and the golden galactic ancestral. So now we're taking that whole design and idea, and we're saying there's also in this peace pathway on the what's called, some people call it the Interim Christ Grid, we call it the Soul Creational Grid, and you have a higher self joint group spirit body that you all evolve and work through on the human consciousness grid and on this grid and out in the greater field. And it is because of those that you have connections to these other pathways, part of the purpose and plan. So in the Soul Creational Grid or Interim Christ Grid, you have connections to two other information highway pathways. You have a connection to the what's called the time capsules. Now, that's a tricky thing to understand. That's our information. When a planet becomes enlightened and it's got the directive from the creative source of divine intelligence to go bring its information to a new planet, which it is directed to, we what's called wrap up our grid of our enlightened golden information that is specific for our evolution. It's got inventions, solutions to problems. It's got spiritual information. It's got new spiritual anatomy and connections that are universal, that pretty much anyone in an enlightened planet has. And we wrap it up and we bring it to, as in this case, your planet, and we lay it, but we also lay the grids. We laid the Christ grid, the human consciousness grid, and that grid. And we prepare for the influx of souls. As when you're evolved, you will eventually do when you are directed to do so through divine intelligence of the creative source, is how we call it. You might call it God. Whatever word works for you. Supreme Being, Creator, Allah, whatever your language is. It doesn't matter the language, it matters the concept of understanding that it's the big overarching one who created universes, galaxies, and everything. Okay, so in that connection, you have our time capsules, and that it is the divine intelligence of the Creator that releases that information when it's appropriate. We don't have control over that. You're creating, and your alignments and your prayers and your meditations and the setups and the synchronicities on larger levels allow that information to come in when it's the right time. And that's determined by the divine intelligence of the planetary system, believe it or not. That other consciousness you hook into. So that's one thing that's on that grid. The other thing that's on that Interim Christ Grid or Soul Creational Grid is connection to the galactic highway of enlightened planets. Now, you've heard us mention that before, and it's not our language. That language came through other channelers. There's about 3 of them that we know of that brought forward that particular terminology. Each one not knowing the other one had. Fascinating, huh? Time for some concepts to come through, don't you think? From a divine intelligence. So that, what we call that is that we call that, get out of the way, new words. We don't call it the Galactic Enlightenment Highway. We call it your soul, your enlightened soul family. Because when a planet is determined that it will become an enlightened planet, ahead of its creation and change, it becomes part of a soul family of galactic enlightened planets. And from our perspective, we're going to speak of it from our side now. From our side, that family of enlightened planets is approximately, from our knowledge right now, over 500,000 planets across infinite numbers of galaxies and universes. Wow, that's a staggering amount, isn't it? And in the particular universe you're in, there are approximately 15 of these enlightened planets. And in the solar system that you are in, you are the only one, planet Earth. And we know there's some people who would find that fascinating. And also, for that astrologer who's going to figure out the math to be able to bring galactic and cosmic galactic readings into astrology, they needed to know that. Okay. Because they are going to get some help from the other universe galactic enlightened planets that they have a relationship with. And we're just leaving that for that person because they heard this initial video and they're already working on it. And this one will eventually meet them. It's not who she thinks. Okay. So, that Galactic Enlightened Highway, we just gave this one a moment to go, okay. That Galactic Enlightened Highway is of your soul family, your enlightened soul family group, gets an upgrade, and that has already been upgraded. And many of you took part in some new connections to that connection at the Great Global Healing Party Lionsgate special parties that this one didn't even know about, but we sprung on her in the first year, 2025. So should you want those connections, just go back and listen to the Great Global Healing Party Lionsgate portal activations that are in there, and you will get those for those that want that. So the Galactic Enlightenment Highway information has been updated for real-time information, which is what we said during those Lionsgates. And so as you evolve through time and you take on more aspects, and it's not in this great shift, but we can say it's in the next great renaissance where great shift grid work will take place. And in that renaissance in the future, we're not going to name times or dates or whatnot, because that's just, we want you here and now, in this time. So it's good not to know too much ahead sometimes. You don't want to project forward. You want to be here now. So in that time frame, that portal activation will actually become active and people will be receiving through that. But there's a lot that has to happen between then and now. Not to be a teaser, but I think it's easy to imagine that maybe you're not quite ready for that yet. Just look at the fear on every movie dealing with aliens. Hey, that's kind of a hint there. And that's also a cosmic joke from our part. Okay, so that's what's on the Interim Christ Grid. Interim Creational Grid. You have aspect to those records through the peace portal, Christ, consciousness, evolutionary. Well, it's not like an anatomy. It's a consciousness field that you hook into in the planet. And we spoke a lot about it in the series on how to align to the Christ in the new coming Christ Death Bardo. And this is how to bring in greater peace. So it's on the peace path. So one was the Death Bardo. This is the Birth Bardo. Kind of end of it. So I hope we didn't lower our voice too much. And so and I'm sorry if we startled you by just raising it. This one reminds us, because as people have different audios and different connections and different connection speeds, and people think that her audio is poor, but it's usually at their end. So we just want to say we're doing our best to project our voices, my voice and her voice. Okay, so the last thing we'd like you to know in this series, this video in this series, is that these connections are getting upgraded in the divine blueprint. And even though the Galactic Enlightened Highway portal won't be active until another Renaissance, the time capsule portal will be activated in the new divine blueprint. And so what you're going to see, and we're going to remind this one to not get in the way about what she knows from astrologers. Get out of the way. So that will become active when the new divine blueprint is engaged this December solstice. And it'll start percolating ideas into people from our time capsules, because it's time. You need some help. And we can see from the divine intelligence of the Creator Source, from our side of the veil, that this is going to become active in this one's lifetime, and that there will be many new inventions that come in just in her lifetime for things that are needed now. So by having a channel and being a spirit on the other side of the veil that works at the level we work at, we actually can use this one's spiritual soul in quantum entanglement time to see the future. And she knows this on some level because of working with us. And for instance, we might tell her, maybe we don't want to tape then because the lawnmower fellows will be coming through for the house next door. She lives in a neighborhood. So she knows how we have helped her know the best times to tape on that level. But it hasn't occurred to her that the soul forces that she is allowing to be used for this greater work allow us to have a quantum entanglement projection of her future lifetime and her next 2 lifetimes, believe it or not. Because as you're learning, there's groups of 3 for the higher self, there's groups of 5 lifetimes for the soul, and there's groups of 7 lifetimes for your group higher self spirit bodies in the 3 places that we've mentioned on those grids, the ones you co-create in together in your group level. So we can look 3 lifetimes ahead through this one, which is approximately about, well, you figure a lifetime is anywhere from 80 to 120 max. It'll be expanding to 150 by her 3rd lifetime. People are going to start to live longer. That's part of the design of the system. So we can look approximately about 300 years into the future. And we will start speaking more about that in 2027 to give hopeful information about what's coming, because the setups that will be in place will allow that to happen. All right. So this is what we wished you to know this day, and that you are dearly loved, and to expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. Peace be with you all.